The Indianapolis Colts are doomed. At the time of this recording, Colts starting cornerback Isaiah Rodgers is likely going to be losing his chance at a breakout 2023 due to gambling on reportedly over 100 games, including Colts matchups. But we will get into that later. We have more to talk about for the Indianapolis Colts. I want to discuss why they ended up at 25th on my 2023 NFL Power Rankings. Hi guys, I'm Chase Keller from Chase Keller Journalism, and thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Today I'm going to talk about the 2023 Indianapolis Colts, discuss some positives, discuss some negatives, primarily negatives, and talk to you guys about why the Indianapolis Colts have to rely on upside to be 25th in my power rankings. If you do enjoy this video, please make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel as well. We got 24 more teams to talk about, so if you want to see your favorite team, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So without further ado, here is why I believe the 2023 Indianapolis Colts will finish with a 6-11 record. The Colts are in a weird quarterback situation and have been for the past few years. It all started in August of 2019 when Andrew Luck announced his retirement, putting the Colts in a flux at the quarterback position. The Colts have had 5 leading passers across the last few years, including picking up veterans like Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, and Carson Wentz. The Colts are finally trying to fix the quarterback situation by selecting their hopeful franchise quarterback in Anthony Richardson at 4th overall in the 2023 NFL Draft. Richardson is an extremely raw, high upside prospect where this pick could be really good but also be really bad. Starting with the positives about Richardson, we all know how athletic he is, and he is quite possibly the most athletic player in the 2023 draft class, and I'm not just saying that because he's a quarterback. When he's scrambling, he is an immediate threat. He's a better version of Lamar Jackson out of the pocket. He has elite explosiveness after the decision to scramble. His elusiveness is clearly top notch, and his top gear speed and deep speed are both very special. His throwing upside is also a big positive, as at some points with Florida, he showed big flashes of having insane arm talent and sometimes good accuracy. There have also been many viral clips that have come out of Anthony Richardson throwing extremely deep passes, showing that he has the arm talent. Now, there are a bunch of lingering negatives in Anthony Richardson's game. It starts with his accuracy, and I think I explained it pretty well in my top 5 2023 NFL Draft quarterbacks video. And that's just not a stat sheet takeaway, that was a film takeaway as well. Even in the short and medium game, Richardson was missing passes that a college QB should easily make, let alone an NFL quarterback. His consistency to make these throws is also very bad, as he showed bare flashes going deep, and he also showed inconsistencies when throwing short slants, curls, or hook routes. His throwing mechanics also impact his throwing and his accuracy. When discussing translatability to the NFL, his mechanics are very inconsistent, as in some occasions they're good, but in other occasions they're sometimes very quick of a release. His decision making is also a pretty big issue, as in some occasions he threw into obvious double coverage, and he had 13 turnover-worthy plays in 2022. Behind him, you have Gardner Minshew, who's 1 overall less than Anthony Richardson at a 68 overall, and if needed, this is a reliable backup for Richardson in the future. I do think Minshew should start week 1 to help develop the raw talent of Richardson. In 2022, Gardner Minshew went 44 for 76, which is 57.9%, 664 passing yards, along with 3 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He also fumbled 3 times and was not too impressive when filling in for Jalen Hurts last season. Although it may have been because the play style of Jalen Hurts kind of resorted away from what that offense was used to already that season. And the targets aren't awful. They have a pretty deep wide receiver room, as well as some top dogs like Jonathan Taylor here at an 89 overall. Jonathan Taylor had a down year in 2022 as he dealt with injuries, the worst yards per carry of his career. He found the end zone only 4 times, which is landslide the lowest of his career. And when he was healthy, he still lost volume, as the Indianapolis Colts were more trustworthy in Matt Ryan at quarterback. Yet we know what Jonathan Taylor can do, so hopefully he's utilized in a way where he is the most reliable player in the offense. The wide receiver 1 is the wide receiver 32 in the NFL. An 80 overall, we have Michael Pittman, who is not a terrible first option for for the offense. He didn't prove much in 2022 after I predicted a breakout. He could not reach 1,000 yards despite having 99 receptions, which came in 9.3 yards per reception. This was likely because after I studied film, he was utilized a lot in the short game, and he was kind of a check down machine while with Indy last year. The team has a very deep wide receiver room, as I mentioned, as they have Isaiah McKenzie at a 75 overall, Alec Pierce at a 67 overall, Ashton Dulin at a 67 overall, rookie Josh Downs at a 68 overall, and the tight end room is also pretty good. I have Mo Ali Cox, who has a breakout grade of 73, and recently drafted tight end Jelani Woods at a 71. To summarize this Indianapolis Colts quarterback situation, it is extremely uncertain. With Anthony Richardson's grade being solely based on upside, in my opinion, this quarterback room is going to want to rely on Gardner Minshew to hopefully develop his skill set. We likely won't see a good offensive year out of the Colts this year, and this is a 2023 power ranking, but the promise is there depending on how you look at the situation. The Indianapolis Colts are going into the 2023 season with a very weird blocking situation. Going into 2022, the offensive line was known as one of, if not the NFL's best. In 2022, according to PFF, they had the 23rd best pass blocking, where they allowed 40 sacks, had 128 hurries, and allowed 208 pressures. They also had the 13th best run blocking, where they showed awful gap blocking, which takes away run versatility. The star of the line in Quentin Nelson had a down year in 2022, and that's just where it starts for Indy. The run blocking was mediocre out of Quentin Nelson, as he lost his top tier pushback strength, and he struggles to be the first to jump, and he often gets knocked back for this reason. Yet the pass blocking of Quentin Nelson was great per usual. Quentin Nelson saw an extremely high rate of pass blocking snaps compared to the rest of his career, primarily because the Colts started trusting Matt Ryan the most on that offense. He saw the second highest amount of pass blocking snaps throughout his career with 720, which was a 60.7% increase from 2021. Those snaps were the most pass block snaps on Indy's entire team, as well as the 27th highest in the NFL, which typically, given Jonathan Taylor, is high for their tendencies. He also allowed 31 pressures, 20 hurries, and 5 sacks in these snaps, which is impressive given the volume. Typically, Nelson is showing a great combination of pass and run blocking, but 2022 wasn't up to his standards, so maybe Nelson is starting to fall. Will Freeze and Matt Pryor had to deal with the right side. They both brought awful pass blocking to Indy, as in under 400 pass block snaps from both of them. They allowed 51 pressures, 37 hurries, and 7 sacks. After 2022, Will Freeze is projected to start as the worst pass blocker on the team, and Pryor is off the team with his contract expiring. He now plays for the San Francisco 49ers and is projected to start at right tackle. Then there's Bernhard Raimann, who I loved as a prospect. Raimann had a promising start to his career. As a blindside blocker, he was reliable all around, especially for a rookie. His pass blocking was above average across all starting left tackles, and his run blocking was slightly better, which is also above average for all starting tackles. Raimann has one of 3 breakout grades on this roster, but with how things are unfolding on this defense, it's now one of 2. I will explain that in a little bit. And then there's Braden Smith, who always has been a reliable right tackle, but he had a slight down year in 2022. He didn't lose anything overall wise, even though his run blocking looked very average on film. He still remains at an 86 because his pass blocking improved. He had 30 pressures, which was his 3rd most in 5 seasons, 16 hurries, which was 4th, and 7 sacks, which was tied for the most. Braden Smith played the most pass blocking snaps of his career last year, and these statistics just become more impressive given that they are on the lower spectrum on his career. To summarize, this offensive line had a down year in 2022 with number 1 offensive line projections. Despite losing its reputation as the best offensive line, they have some very promising talents across the line, and Bernhard Raimann, Blake Freeland, and even undrafted free agent Emil Ekiyor Jr. Yet, with some large downfalls in the 2022 season, this O-line is in a very weird situation. When you take a look at offense, defense, special teams, and coaching, this defense is a clear hole in this entire team. But to be fair, there aren't really any good broad things about this team. The defense holds a lot of youth that brings a good amount of upside. 7 of 11 starters have played in 5 or fewer seasons, 5 of 7 have played in 4 or fewer, 4 of 7 have played 3 or fewer, and behind the starters, 4 rookies contribute to the rating, including starting cornerback Julius Brents and backup guys Adetomiwa Adebawore, Jalen Jones, Darius Rush, and Daniel Scott. And I wanted to talk about a breakout grade that I took off, and that is Isaiah Rodgers, because at the time of this recording, he has not been suspended, but is expected to be suspended potentially for life. If the Colts lose Rodgers for even one season, a big hit is taken to this secondary. He had very solid ball production so far throughout his career, with 3 interceptions all in 2021, 6 pass breakups, and only 5 touchdowns allowed. Rodgers has fantastic click and close ability, which really shows on tape. And it also makes sense that he wasn't targeted a lot and had one of the lower target to snap rates in the NFL. Rodgers is also the backup return specialist for this team, which brings on all-around value as a player and not just a defender. So yes, Isaiah Rodgers is a pretty big loss, especially noting that in my overall ratings, I had him tied with Kenny Moore as the best cornerback on the roster. Let alone with him having a breakout grade, I was projecting him to be the cornerback 1 by next season. The draft selection of Kansas State cornerback Julius Brents has also helped. It may have been a slight reach given the talent available in my opinion, but positional need was obviously there given that they drafted 3 rookies, which without Rodgers is cornerback 2, cornerback 3, and cornerback 4. The first thing that I noticed when I was scouting Brents is that he has fantastic measurables at the cornerback position. The length is there to be able to deflect passes, and the size and height is there to be able to work in contested catch situations. Brents can also line up as a safety or even a box linebacker if you want to put him there. The problem with Julius Brents is that he struggles in man coverage, which that'll be a pattern as we go through these rookie cornerbacks. His click and close isn't elite, but the length may help make up for that, as I saw several times on film. Brents also doesn't have the speed to be able to keep up deep, so he may have to rely on the safeties through transitions to make a guy not get the ball deep. These other guys are kind of role players slash backup players, so I won't spend too much time on them, but with rookie Jalen Jones, he also has very good measurables for the position, yet has questions in man coverage and click and close abilities. There's also Darius Rush, who I thought was a good selection in the 5th round given I had a 5th round grade on him. But guess what he struggles in? Man coverage and athleticism, just like Julius Brents. Outside of the cornerbacks though, there's also Adetomiwa Adebawore, who is a 65 overall as a rookie. I thought Adebawore was a bit overrated as a prospect. He fell to the mid 4th round, and I had an early 4th round grade on him, so not particularly a steal like everyone else thinks, but I thought this was a good draft selection for Indy. I love the versatility that Adebawore brings to the table. He can play outside and inside, and especially noting that the Colts run a 4-3 defense, he can easily play off on the edge if needed. The problem with Adebawore is that he struggles to finish the play. He's a very mediocre tackler, and overall, he's just not great with the run game. Daniel Scott has a very solid athletic profile overall, but he loses out in run support as he isn't the greatest tackler. Not only does this defense have upside for the rookies, they also have a couple proven veterans that are really good. It starts with one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL in DeForest Buckner. Buckner is easily one of the best pass rushing interior linemen outside of Aaron Donald, as in every season of his career he's had at least 48 pressures, and in the last 5 he's had at least 9 sacks, which is 3rd out of all defensive linemen behind Aaron Donald and Chris Jones. And Shaq Leonard is up there too at an 85 overall. I don't know how to look at him going into this season, as in 2022 he just suffered so many injuries we never got a good sample size. But even in the games that he played, he was awful. In coverage, he was not good, which is likely his worst trait overall, but abnormally, he wasn't good in run defense, which is typically his best trait as a linebacker. Yet before 2022, he was fantastic all around, being one of the best run defenders in the NFL, consistently missing only 7% of tacklers, which is impressive as a linebacker, and he had some quality snaps in coverage. So my question is, can Shaq Leonard turn his career around in 2023? To summarize, this defense has a mix of veterans and rookies, which may not be too comfortable given that they have a lot of rookies that contributed to this rating. There are just too many young, unproven talents on this defense for me to be able to call it good, meaning this defense could easily become one of the worst in the NFL. So before I end the video, I want to summarize where the rating came from and how the Indianapolis Colts turned up in 25th place. Their offense received a 73.85, which is 26th in the NFL, 14th in the AFC, and 3rd in the AFC South. The defense turned up at a 71.57, which is 28th without Rodgers, 15th in the AFC, and 4th in the AFC South. The special teams had a 73.71, which is 5th in the NFL, 4th in the AFC, and 2nd in the AFC South. And the coaching came out at a 76 out of 80, which is tied for 20th in the NFL, tied for 11th in the AFC, and 3rd in the AFC South. As an overall team, they got a 73.89, which is 25th in the NFL, 2nd to last in the AFC, and dead last in the AFC South. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I have 24 more teams to talk about, and if your favorite team hasn't been talked about yet, be on the watch out. Once again, I'm Chase Keller from Chase Keller Journalism, and thank you guys so much for choosing this channel as your source of sports coverage. I'll see you guys in the next video.